That giant mosquito hovering near your porch light cannot bite you. It has no functioning mouth parts. It will live for less than 15 days, and in that time it will do something for your soil that no fertilizer product on the market replicates. What it actually is. The insect most Americans call a giant mosquito is a crane fly, order Diptera, family Tipulidae. It is not a mosquito. It is not a mosquito hawk. It is not capable of biting, stinging, or transmitting disease in any documented capacity. Adult crane flies emerge from soil as sexually mature adults with one biological purpose: reproduction. Their mouthparts are either completely absent or vestigial and non-functional depending on species. They do not feed as adults. They live entirely on energy reserves accumulated during their larval stage in the soil. The largest crane fly species in North America reaches 2 inches in wingspan, making it the insect most commonly misidentified as a dangerous giant mosquito by homeowners who have never seen one up close. The larval stage, the crane fly you see near your porch light, spent between 1 and 3 years living underground as a larva before emerging as an adult. That larval stage is called a leather jacket because of the tough gray-brown skin casing that protects the soft body inside. Leather jackets live in the top 6 inches of soil, where they feed on decomposing organic matter, fungal threads, and decaying root material. They are primary decomposers in the same functional category as earthworms and pillbugs. Their feeding activity fragments organic material into smaller particles that soil bacteria process more efficiently, accelerating nutrient release into the soil profile in plant-available form across the entire period of their underground development. Soil aeration function. Leather jackets move continuously through the top soil layer during their 1 to 3 year underground development period. That movement creates microchannels throughout the soil profile that improve water infiltration, oxygen penetration, and root expansion capacity in the same way earthworm movement aerates compacted soil. A lawn or garden bed with an established crane fly population in the soil has been receiving continuous biological aeration from below the surface for years before the adult insects appear at your porch light. The aeration those larvae provided is visible in the soil structure if you dig 6 inches into a crane fly populated lawn. The soil breaks apart in loose aggregates rather than solid compressed layers. That aggregate structure is the physical result of years of larval movement through the profile, creating and collapsing microchannels that reorganize soil particle arrangement from compressed to porous. Nutrient cycling value. The organic matter crane fly larvae process during their underground development contains nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, and micronutrients locked inside dead plant and fungal material that plant roots cannot access in its unprocessed form. As larvae consume and digest that material, they excrete nutrient compounds in forms that soil bacteria convert rapidly into plant-available minerals. The nitrogen cycling contribution of crane fly larval populations in temperate grassland and garden soil ecosystems has been documented in soil ecology research at rates comparable to earthworm contributions in the same soil volume. A lawn receiving natural crane fly larval activity in the soil requires measurably less supplemental nitrogen fertilizer to maintain green color and growth density than a biologically depleted lawn of the same grass species and soil type. The average American homeowner spends between $50 and $150 per season on lawn fertilizer to replace nutrient cycling services that an intact soil biology, including crane fly larvae, provides continuously at zero cost. Food web position. Crane fly larvae occupy a critical position in the soil food web that supports every predatory species living above the ground surface in your yard. They are a primary food source for robins, starlings, and ground-feeding bird species that probe lawns during spring emergence periods. The bird activity most homeowners observe as robins pulling worms from a lawn in early spring includes significant crane fly larval extraction alongside earthworm foraging. Moles tunnel into cranefly larval zones specifically because leather jacket density provides high caloric return per unit of tunneling effort. Ground beetles, which are among the most effective surface pest predators in residential yards, prey on cranefly larvae in the top soil layer as a significant component of their diet. The food web that supports birds, ground beetles, and other beneficial predators in your yard is partially anchored by cranefly larval populations in the soil beneath it. Removing that larval population through soil insecticide application removes the food base that supports every predator living above the surface. The misidentification cost. The giant mosquito misidentification triggers one of the most unnecessary pest control responses in residential entomology. A homeowner who sees craneflies hovering near exterior lights in late summer or early fall calls a pest company reporting a mosquito infestation. The technician arrives and applies a pyrethroid barrier spray targeting the adult craneflies visible on exterior surfaces and vegetation. That spray kills the adult craneflies present at the time of application. It does not address any larvae in the soil because pyrethroid barrier sprays do not penetrate soil to the depths where leather jackets live. The adult craneflies being killed were going to die within 15 days regardless of any intervention because their natural adult lifespan ends at reproduction. The spray accomplished nothing beyond killing insects that were days from natural death and applying 3 weeks of pyrethroid residual to your garden vegetation. The service runs between $80 and $150. The larvae that will become next season's soil aerators and food web anchors are completely unaffected in the soil below. The spray killed nothing meaningful. The invoice was issued anyway. When larvae become a problem, cranefly larvae cause genuine turf damage under one specific condition. When larval population density exceeds 25 to 30 individuals per square foot of lawn, their feeding activity shifts from decomposing organic matter to living grass roots because the decomposing material in the immediate zone has been depleted. Root feeding at that density produces visible turf patches that yellow, thin, and pull up from the soil surface without resistance because the root system has been severed. That damage pattern is real and documented. It is also the result of an abnormally high larval density that occurs in specific conditions. Waterlogged soil following extended wet periods concentrates cranefly egg-laying activity in low drainage zones. Thatch layers exceeding half an inch in depth create ideal larval habitat that supports above normal population densities. Both conditions are correctable without soil insecticide. Improving lawn drainage through aeration and top dressing with compost reduces waterlogging. Dethatching with a mechanical rake or vertical mower removes the excess organic layer that supports abnormal larval density. Addressing the habitat conditions that produce the high-density population eliminates the damage without eliminating the normal density cranefly population, providing soil services in the rest of the lawn. Section 8. Pest Company Misidentification. A pest company responding to a cranefly call follows a treatment pathway that addresses the wrong life stage with the wrong product at the wrong time in the insect's biology. Adult craneflies appearing at exterior lights in late summer represent the end of a 1 to 3 year biological cycle. They emerge from the soil, will mate within days of emergence, and will die within 15 days regardless of any chemical intervention. Killing adult craneflies with a barrier spray is the biological equivalent of treating a plant disease by removing the flowers that appeared after the infection was already complete. The disease established itself underground months earlier. The flowers are the final visible stage of a process that has already concluded. The adult craneflies are the final visible stage of a soil biology process that ran for 3 years beneath your lawn. The product that does address cranefly larval populations, when genuine damage thresholds are exceeded, is a biological insecticide called Steinernema feltiae, an entomopathogenic nematode applied to moist soil in early fall when young larvae are present near the surface. It costs between $15 and $30 per application for a standard lawn. requires no protective equipment, is completely harmless to birds, earthworms, and beneficial soil insects, and specifically targets crane fly larvae without disrupting the broader soil biology. Pest companies rarely offer this product because it requires one application, works without a follow-up visit, and costs the homeowner $30 instead of $150. The sales dynamic that produces this treatment gap is straightforward. A pest company technician arriving to address a crane fly complaint has two product options available. The first is a pyrethroid barrier spray that costs the company $3 in chemical, takes 20 minutes to apply, and generates a $150 service fee with a follow-up visit scheduled in 3 weeks. The second is a recommendation to purchase Steinernema feltiae nematodes from a garden center for $30 and apply them once in early fall with a standard hose-end sprayer. The second option solves the problem permanently in the only situation where crane fly larvae actually cause damage. It generates zero revenue for the pest company. The technician recommends the first option every time. The application window for Steinernema feltiae is specific, and the pest company's barrier spray schedule never aligns with it. Nematodes must be applied in early fall when soil temperature is between 50 and 65 degrees Fahrenheit, and when young first and second instar larvae are present near the surface. That window is typically September through early October, depending on geographic location. A barrier spray applied in August when adult crane flies are visible at porch lights misses the larval application window entirely. The pest company treats the adults in August. The larvae damage the lawn roots in October. The lawn repair call comes in November. The billing cycle continues without ever addressing the actual biology of the pest it was supposed to control. Annual soil value calculation. Here is what an established crane fly larval population cycling through your lawn soil is worth across a full development period. Soil aeration from continuous larval movement through the top 6 inches of soil profile across a 1 to 3 year development period replaces between 1 and 3 annual mechanical aeration services at between $75 and $200 per service. That represents between $75 and $600 in aeration value from one crane fly generation cycling through the soil before emerging as the adults at your porch light. Nutrient cycling from organic matter processing by leather jackets across the same development period reduces supplemental fertilizer requirements for the lawn above. A lawn with active soil biology requires between 30 and 50% less supplemental nitrogen to maintain equivalent growth and color compared to a biologically depleted lawn of the same species and soil type. At a seasonal fertilizer spend of between $50 and $150 for a standard residential lawn, that represents between $15 and $75 in annual fertilizer savings from crane fly larval activity alone. Food web support value is harder to calculate precisely, but directly observable. A lawn with active crane fly larval populations in the soil supports measurably higher populations of ground-feeding birds and ground beetles across the surface. Those birds and beetles provide pest suppression value across the entire yard that disappears when the soil food base supporting them is eliminated through insecticide application. Combined across one 3-year larval development cycle, one crane fly generation cycling through a standard residential lawn provides between $240 and $825 in soil service value before the adult insect ever appears at your porch light. The barrier spray that kills that adult in the final 15 days of its life costs $150 and provides none of those services in return. The giant mosquito that cannot bite you was worth more to your lawn than the invoice that killed it. The 5-year calculation makes the financial case impossible to ignore. A homeowner calling for crane fly treatment every fall for 5 consecutive years spends between $750 and $750 in barrier spray service fees. Each application kills adult crane flies that were going to die within 15 days regardless of treatment. Each application applies 3 weeks of pyrethroid residual to lawn vegetation that reduces the ground beetle and beneficial insect populations, using that vegetation as habitat. Each application does nothing to the larval population in the soil, producing the adults. The crane fly population is completely unaffected across 5 years of annual treatment because the treatment never reaches the life stage being treated. The same 5-year period, without any chemical intervention, allows the crane fly larval population to complete 1 to 2 full development cycles in the soil. The aeration, nutrient cycling, and food web support those cycles provide accumulates across the full period. The lawn above receives continuous biological soil service. The birds feeding on emerging larvae each fall continue supporting ground-level pest suppression across the entire yard. The ground beetle population, anchored by the larval food base, continues hunting surface pest insects through every growing season. $0 spent. 0 soil biology disrupted. 0 invoices issued. That is what 5 years of leaving the giant mosquito alone is actually worth, compared to 5 years of paying to kill it.